Hello and welcome to SATV's International Affairs. My name is Rashid Kanchan. I will be your host and I have a very distinguished panelist today. Ali Ahmed, former member Customs, National Board of Revenue, very distinguished gentleman. We have our International Affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho, and from Washington, Norman Floyd Barnes. First of all, let me look at Washington's situation. Mr. Norman, following the tragic shooting near the CDC headquarters, what does this say about US domestic security challenges, and could such incidents impact America's global image?
Good morning from Washington, D.C.
Good morning.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you properly.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So-
okay. Yes, we
Go
start
ahead.
another week. Yes. Yeah, let us start another week. And I just want to bring everybody up to speed what's happening here in Washington, D.C. As you know, we have been dealing with a lot of internal issues here in the United States. And one of the big issues is the issue of violence. The president has took upon himself to, let's target Washington, D.C. He has threatened to bring federal troops, actually federal law enforcement agencies, into the streets to assist with the influx of crime, the perception of crime. So we are now bracing for what exactly would that mean. Right now, there's a increased presence of federal law enforcement in addition to the Metropolitan Police in the city due to a rash of crimes dealing with youth and certain situations. So we are now waiting to see exactly what that really means. How much is that going to affect anything? And right now, that is the number one issue in terms of Washington, D.C. But more importantly, we had a couple of incidents this past week. As you know, we had some shootings. Let me go back a month. A month ago in New York City, you know, we had a shooting when a deranged person came across the United States from Las Vegas and went into an office building in New York City and started shooting people. There was 4 victims, including a police officer who was born in Bangladesh. He was a victim of this person who had in his mind that he was sick regarding football concussions, and he wanted to take it out on the NFL. So here we go. We got that situation. And then we had a situation going on with the military. We have a base called Fort Stewart in Georgia, which is the largest military base on the East Coast. We had one of our officers who had a personal issue. Actually, we found out more that he has an issue. We perceived that he is a recipient of racism. He wanted a transfer. He was despondent, depressed, and not happy with his working conditions. So he took upon himself to get a weapon off base and come on base and start shooting. Luckily, some soldiers there was able to apprehend him and stop him from doing more damage. So here we go again. We got more situation with the people, how they dealing with things. Then we go into Friday. We had another shooting at a university and close to the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta. Again, we're back in Georgia again. That situation was a person who had an idea that the COVID vaccine, he had problems with that. So he wanted to take it upon himself. He took a weapon and went and started shooting up the building. And also during that time, he took the life of another police officer, a young officer who just right out of the academy. He lost his life in that process. And the shooter took his own life. So we're looking at these situations that's going on in the United States. Now, it's ironic that the federal funding was cut to the CDC in terms of research a week ago, and they're struggling with getting money for research on trying to figure out vaccines. And of course, you know about the vaccine situation. We're talking about cutting that. So right now, the people are struggling. You see people are crying out what's going on, in addition to what's going on in the rest of the world with the tariffs, the jobs, immigration, and everything else. We have a situation where we have internal struggle. People are trying to figure out who we are, what we're doing ourselves, and they're crying out to the public at the same time. We're trying to identify ourselves as a leader in the world while we are struggling with our internal questions going on.
All right,
what's
Mr.
going on
Norman.
right now in the United States, and of course.
All right,
Yes.
Mr. Norman, I'll be coming back to you. Before I go to Shamsul Alam Pantho, my question is from, according to Norman, you have heard the domestic violence is increasing in America, and Norman also said people are struggling to cope up with their daily lives. We'll definitely discuss it. Do you have other things to discuss today? As I know, Mr. Ali Ahmed will be asked the question about the upcoming meeting between Trump and Putin.
Thank you, Mr. Kanchan. Very good afternoon to all my viewers, and of course, Mr. Ali Ahmed for being here today. And very good morning to Norman as well. Let me add on to what you just said. Donald Trump is set to meet with Vladimir Putin in Alaska on August 15th. Of course, this is to discuss the war on Ukraine from the Russian counterpart. Aside from this, I'll also give in contrast the South Caucasus, Armenia and Azerbaijan is to link peace roadmap during the White House ceremony. So this will become another example of settlement of peace, which of course is brokered by Donald Trump and United States of America. And aside from this, we have 466 protesters arrested in London as a hundreds rally in support of the action group Palestine Action.
So this will be in our discussion. First question to Ali Ahmed. The Trump administration is reportedly considering inviting President Zelensky of Ukraine to Alaska during the upcoming Trump-Putin summit. How could this triangular diplomacy reshape US involvement in the Ukraine conflict, sir?
Thank you for asking this question. I first of all would object to the question of saying it is a triangular diplomacy. No. When the pressure came from the European leaders for that saying that there cannot be any peace in Ukraine without the Ukrainian leaders, that means Ukraine, and then the name of Zelensky came out because he is the president, and then Donald Trump, the president of USA, said yes. First he said I don't mind, and then he said I am open. The White House says that he is open to taking, but the question is, you are calling it a tripartite diplomacy. Zelensky is the president of a country, maybe it's weaker and smaller than the US or Russia, but he is the president. So who has invited him? So he needs to be properly invited to be there. It should normally be Russia, but it may also be America because the place of is it Alaska in USA, but nothing has happened so far. So I am in doubt, not very grave ones though, that this diplomatic discussion might not finally include Zelensky. That is the situation. So, but if it does, Zelensky would be under a shadow of Trump because of his past behavior with him. So I don't think Zelensky alone might not be able to face him because of his very frightening appearance and frightening behavior, I should say. So I am not sure if it will at all take place, but Donald Trump and Russia might hold this. But the problem is, after the occupation of part of Zelensky's country and the beginning of the war, entire Europeans and NATO and others, even EU, boycotted. In fact, I remember the last meeting in Scotland where Putin was he was sort of hounded out of the meeting. He left that meeting, and there has not been any meeting with the Western countries. Now, the biggest one of the Western country, Donald Trump, is going to sit with him. So he is alienating other friends in the EU or NATO or else, and holding this meeting with him. But for Putin, it is a great success, because he is staying, as they say in the Western media, that he is staying in the first table. So, I do not know about this, but this the change of diplomacy happening in the world. It has already decided to be happened. So, let us see.
Let us do a relevant question to Norman. Norman, why this place has been chosen? I mean Alaska, the soil of United States of America, which has been acquired by United States of America from Russia many years back.
It was a purchase. It was
the purchase.
They purchased it. And my second question is, some commentators are assuming that there will be back-to-back meeting in some places in Russia where Putin will join after the development of this meeting, this anticipated summit between United President and the Russian President. Mr. Norman.
Yes, it's ironic that the location was chosen to be Alaska, which was a former land. Actually, Alaska was sold to the United States in 1867 by Russia. So it's ironic, and it's halfway between Washington and Moscow. So that location is kind of ironic. It's a win for Putin that he basically set the tone. The tone is basically, we're going to talk about actually the annexation. This is how we're going to divide the land. President Trump has already mentioned about how we're going to divide the land and divvy up the land. So in essence, the plan has already been in place. It's determining how they're going to do it and how they're going to advise Ukraine. So this is going to be a very interesting meeting this week. Whether or not Ukraine is invited really doesn't matter. So we're talking about honestly a bad deal versus. So they're talking about the terms right now, how they're going to present it to Ukraine, or either they leave it or take it. So you can expect to see that type of situation again. Whether or not the president participated from Ukraine in this meeting, it really doesn't matter. The situation has already been decided.
Thank you, Mr. Norman. Please stay with us. My last question regarding the same issue, Mr. Shamsul Alam Pantho, do you really believe that there will be some positive outcome on stopping the combat operation by Russia to Ukraine by this meeting, where still President Zelensky's presence is not clear?
Well, of course, the two sides in this matter would be Volodymyr Zelensky and Vladimir Putin. Of course, the meeting is set to be held 5 days from today in August 15. And much can change in the hemisphere of information and media broadcasting in 5 days. I believe that's a long time. However, with the inclusion of Volodymyr Zelensky, it may bring to the discussion of dialogue. However, if we see that he's not being involved in such a discussion, it would definitely have some kind of irritant reaction in European Union as well. Someone who has been helping Ukraine with arms, ammunition, and regardless of support, even support from Italy as well on reconstruction of Ukraine after such a war has ended. Of course, Donald Trump did set the market demand for worldwide wars to be halted, if not a ceasefire to be implemented. Recently, we've seen it with Armenia and Azerbaijan, of course, Cambodia and Thailand. That was more or less done by Malaysia on their behalf. But right now, it still is way too early to understand what kind of outcomes we shall see. But such a meeting between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump is very good for the optics, if you would look at it. But how much results we are going to see for the fighting on both sides to end is a matter of question.
Sir Ali Ahmed, you just gaze from your experience that Donald Trump took 7 months to set this meeting with Vladimir Putin. Before, there was supposed to be a meeting in Turkey, Istanbul, but that has been cancelled by the Vladimir Putin himself. Now he is not sitting with his counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky, he is sitting with the US president. How does it look? How does it sounds, and what would be the next step you guess?
First of all, the world of diplomacy sees this projected meeting as a jump of Vladimir Putin to the first table with the American president. He was boycotted by the rest of the world. So that is his promotion, and there, as I foresee, it's becoming very clear. Donald Trump, even before the meeting date and place was decided, he said that some land has to be given as concessions without consulting the Ukrainians or the Ukraine president. But the Ukrainian president Vladimir Zelensky, he reacted after a day. He said that no, there will be no compromise by surrendering our land. This is properly their land. Who is Donald Trump to say that some may be given? He has no right to say. He can walk out. He can stop selling. He is not helping. He is selling it to the Europeans. They give it to the arms. So I think the worst can happen is that he does not. He washes his hands clean of Zelensky or Ukraine, but the Europeans have been preparing for this. They consider it as an attack on them, because they feel, as they have said on many occasions, if Zelensky or Ukraine now, then why not Poland next, and so on and so forth. So this they consider as their frontier against the Russian invasion. So I don't foresee any positive outcome very soon.
Do you see a realistic chance of progress on ending the war in Ukraine, or will this be a symbolic diplomacy?
This is a diplomacy for Vladimir Putin. It's a great success. As I said, he was in the wilderness so far as the Western world is concerned. He is now coming to the American president person to person. So he has come to the top table. That is his great gain. As for me, with my little knowledge that I have of diplomacy or the world events, I don't foresee this meeting is going to make any progress, not to talk of ending it. And that is perhaps not the ambition of Donald Trump either.
So it's a big battle is going on the table.
Yeah,
huge battle. The world will be witnessing.
Donald Trump has Putin has already won. He is sitting with the American president. They were boycotted by the NATO and European Union and all those countries. So he is sitting with the big one. So his hands are going to be filled in what he could deserve or desire.
Right,
so
sir.
For him, it's all right.
Let me do a hypothetical question to Norman. Norman, you know, President Trump is an unpredictable personality. He is a businessman, successful businessman turned into politics, and Vladimir Putin is another world leader who is really tough to be predicted. They both are sitting for a huge problem like to stop a war. Do you think some unpredictable things may happen from these two unpredictable persons meeting?
We're talking about a hype. I'm kind of conflicted on that a little bit, but anything could happen. We could have a natural disaster, and the way things happen, that is probably could happen. This natural world disaster will and could delay the efforts of the ceasefire, the war itself. It may require all hands on deck. That is something that could happen. But right now, the process that we're looking at is the terms of an annexation of that land to Russia. Like my colleague mentioned, the deal is done. Russia is in a situation where they could control the next steps. So right now, outside of a world event, another natural disaster, I don't see anything slowing them up.
So let us look at Israel, Gaza or Middle East issue. The United Nations warned of a deepening humanitarian crisis in Gaza, where aid access has remained blocked for over 5 months, resulting in a sharp rise in malnutrition-related deaths. My question to Mr. Shamsul Alam Pantho, the international affairs commentator of SATV. Germany has imposed an arms embargo or ban on Israel. Could this mark a turning point in Europe's policy towards this conflict, especially Israel and Gaza, and Israel's annexation plan or to complete wipe out of Gaza?
Thank you for your question. Of course, let me add on here, the number of dead children from Israel imposed starvation in Gaza rises to 100. So we can it can be easily ascertained that this has gone far beyond what was required. There is no kind of a political win, military win by taking over or going into a full conquest of Gaza, as per the Israeli media, as how they say it. Initially, before Germany hosting this arms embargo, we've seen Slovenia to be the first European nation in order to say that we will also ban any kind of arms trade with Israel. What happens is they are complicit in creating a genocide, creating a mass murder trial, creating a starvation program for the people residing in Gaza, and Europe cannot be seen complicit and being in support of such an action. We know that a lot of protesters was arrested in London yesterday in a rally as well, so it won't change regular folks' support of what is happening in the Gaza Strip. Of course, the military head, chief of staff of Israel, remains very conflicted with his leader Benjamin Netanyahu, trying to push for a full conquest. What they mean by this conquest is to remove Hamas from controlling their own citizens of the Palestinians. That's right. What they say. But in generalizing here, what we understand is a complete wipe off and complete making sure that Gaza is no longer being able to host any kind of forms of life. That's right. Their goal.
Right. One new question has raised. If Israel proceeds with its plan to take over Gaza City, how might Iran and its regional allies respond? Or what would be the US's position, where already UK, Germany, France, United Nations denied Israel's Netanyahu's this position?
True. Me?
Yes, sir.
First of all, I would like to very apologetically put in a small correction to what you have been discussing after raising this issue. There has not been a ban on sales of German arms to the Israelis. Very interestingly, if you read between the lines, it's not between the lines. The Germans state that the arms required for war in Israel, war in Gaza is banned. So they will say so many other types of arms.
Right.
So there is a
huge depth on this embargo.
Yes, they have actually
conditional.
Although it is very positive that Germany has for the first time did something or has declared to do something that goes against the interests of Israel, because after USA, Germany was very much pro-Israel because of their past offenses against the Jews and all that. So this is the correction, and then you asked the other question. What would be if Israel goes there? Have you marked the things that the Western countries, all these countries, UK is the forefront, but Germany, this very tricky so-called ban, it's not a ban. And then France has not spoken much, but they previously declared their readiness to do anything and everything for Israel. But you see, UK has said this is wrong. What you say is wrong, and so when Israel goes there and kills the people, they would say it is very wrong. And Germany said that, well, we have stopped sending our arms, but please, Israel, don't do it. We will then intervene. Intervene, they will not use the word. And France will have an opportunity of getting photographed to all these trees. None of them is going to do anything whatsoever, I assure you.
This question, same question for Mr. Norman. You are residing at Washington DC, the world's capital, where your president take most of the decisions and signed the executive orders from the Oval Office and White House from his chamber. Would you please describe your position or your president position or position of the congressman or senators or other politicians regarding Netanyahu's next move to complete wipe up of Gaza people from their motherland, from their soil?
The position of the United States government at this time, as I understand it, is the government of the United States is going to allow Israel to do what they want to do right now. They're just going to leave them alone and deal with this situation. They're going to sit back and be complicit and just wait, see, and watch.
So, what about the activities of the Congress debates or in Senate or a person like Bernie Sanders? Bernie Sanders has criticized Trump's position on Israel.
Yes, the Congress, actually certain parts of the Republican, Democratic Party, and the people itself is in opposition. But again, we are right now dealing with a one-person administration who has executive orders. Just remember, executive orders are actually not the rule of law. We are dealing with executive orders, and most of these things are being contested in the court system, but that's going to take time. But right now, the only thing that's happening is we have a one-person party who is now dictating what is going to happen. So right now, they wait and see how this thing falls out. It may not fall in the favor of the current administration and the president.
Sir, I have one more question for you, Mr. Norman, that so far the news is telling that President Trump has signed an executive order on to intervene cartels in Mexico. But Mexican president said she will not allow this intervention inside the land of Mexico. Do you have any updates on this particular invention or invade on cartels?
That information is like I said, a news break. This is a proposal, again, a proposal for an executive order. It is not rule of law. It has not been through Congress. It has not been approved by any party, the left wing, the right wing, or anybody else. This is something, again, from the Trump administration in its efforts to combat global crime and dealing with the cartel. The Pentagon has not even responded to this type of request. So right now, again, we wait and see.
Yes, Mr. Norman, please stay on the line. I have the last question before the break to Shamsul Alam Pantho. You see, India has lost all its neighbor because of his diplomatic policies. Same thing happening in Washington. They are losing relationship with Canada, now the bordering country with Mexico. How do you see the world orders or the diplomacy of the strong countries are going on?
Well, we're 1 month away from the UN General Assembly, and I believe that one should always pursue dialogue and diplomacy before trading blows with weapons, cannons, rockets and missiles. Of course, the example that you gave me regarding India and definitely America involved itself in a trade war with much of the world, with almost over 69 countries.
Yes, sir.
And that definitely not exclusive to its own neighbors as well. We have Canada, we have Mexico, and of course Brazil and Latin America as well. If Donald Trump's administration were to focus on his part of the continent, I'm pretty sure that he would have beneficial relationships with all that are there in Central, North and South America.
So, gentlemen, allow me to go for a short break. We will come back soon. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, inside the country and around the globe. My first question to Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes, as he has the time limitations and Eastern Standard Time is very morning there. Mr. Norman, my question would be, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has expressed alarm over Israel's plans for a military takeover of Gaza City, calling it is a dangerous escalation. Don't your president think so?
The short answer is yes, very dangerous. We're talking about displacing millions of people. Hamas is mentioning that they are not going to leave. We have this issue with humanitarian efforts. People are dying every day through lack of food and actually attempting to get food. They are being killed. The concept of occupying Gaza City it should be very frightening. Now we're talking about dealing with guerrilla warfare, urban warfare, hand-to-hand stuff. This is something where we're talking about additional losses of life. And more importantly, when you go into someone's sovereign land and you try to take it away from them, you create, for every person you kill, we call this terrorists, every person you kill, you create 10 more combatants. Meaning, intention of going in and cleaning out, you are actually creating worse situations. You enhancing, you creating the idea that I'm going to fight you to the end, and when I die, my grandchildren is going to fight you. So this is a horrific decision. We know that nothing good is going to come out of this, but we have to wait and see.
Mr. Norman Floyd Barnes, thank you for your contribution to International Affairs Show at SATV. I really appreciate your effort to us. Thank you, sir. Let us come to the studio back regarding the trade and tariffs tsunami by Donald Trump in 21st century. My first question would be to Ali Ahmed, and it relates to you according to your long career in the customs member, National Board of Revenue. Japan's business confidence has dropped sharply amid tariff concerns. Are we seeing the early signs of a new global trade slowdown, sir?
Well, Japan is a very important country in the global trade. USA as such is quite friendly with Japan, and so have given them a concessionary rate of escalation. His escalation is there, the minimum being 10%, but Japan has got a concessionary rate, but that is going to be very difficult for Japan as well. And added to this, you might have marked it, both of you are very keen readers of international news, etc. You might have seen that in the last year, the deaths and births of Japan differs by 1 million people. That is, there has been 1 million more deaths than 1 million births. That means population is declining. Japan previously said they would be opening the country for opening. They are very conservative about these things, but 1 million in a year, despite all their big longevity, etc. So this is very alarming. And you must have been to Japan. Small houses and tatami floor and all those things, they are not ready to have children, cannot have. That is the cultural situation now. So I see for Japan it's going to be a very, very difficult time ahead. And if Japan slows down, then of course the world economy itself suffers. It also, they bring it down, even US, and US is also digging its own grave in many ways. So they will definitely go down. If this person, the present president in the US, will probably complete his term, then USA will see a slowdown, and then he will be sacking one head of department, another head of department.
He call it fire.
Yeah, as he did with this statistical head, because she said the right number and said no, he is a Democrat. So that is his type. So I foresee very bad times. In UK, it's a Labour government, is good, but because of their handling, you see now, as he said, we all have seen 674 arrests have been made. And what here you must have marked that they have agreed with Egypt, they said only once, but they did not mention later, that their foreign prisoners in their prisons will be exported, diverted,
deported to their country.
They will work as their storehouse, because Egypt is completely under US control and UK control, etc. So I do not foresee very good times for any of these countries. So if USA declines, Japan is declining, UK will follow suit. Germany was rising, of course, but with the pressure of all this, it is very likely that Germany may not do very well, although they have been doing it so far. So therefore, there may be a slump ahead in the world economy. I would only pray that the slump or the slowdown of the 1929-30s does not happen again. Even if it is equivalent to 2002 and 8 and 9, that would be very bad also. I bought one suit from Britain, somebody else bought it for me, just £10, Marks and Spencer, new suit from the store.
Yes.
So these sort of things might come in, business might collapse, but I do not want to be the doomsayer. I would love it to be otherwise, but seeing the condition, the natural condition of Japan and the man-made condition of the US and the rest of the world, I do not foresee very good times ahead for the world economy.
Sir, I can remember and I can give you one information. In 2000, when President George W. Bush has come into power after a controversial election with Al Gore, though Al Gore got more popular votes,
Yes.
Bush became the president. He started invading some countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan and Iraq. Then in 2007, the whole world witnessed one recession. After 2008, President Barack Obama has come and he has boosted the business. That's why the recession has been faced. As Ali Ahmed has says, he foresee a very bad time and slowdown in the world economy. What do you think, how country like Bangladesh will face, because we already see the slowdown in Japan?
Well, thanks for your question. Let me add on here that almost 69 economies, 69 countries are to face this tariff burden as initiated with his executive orders of the White House.
Ripple effect on the war.
And its ripple effect is going to be upcoming in various economies, and not only so, the reliance
US
on
is going to face inflation.
inflation, the dependency on the dollar will go down in these 69 economies, and of course these countries may choose to trade between themselves, given that they are now pressured into a group of countries who will face this burden from America. And of course these economies are major manufacturers of almost all the items in the entire globe. We look at Asia, not only just China, we look at China, Japan, Taiwan, North and South Korea, then you have Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong as well, and in this region as well, Bangladesh, India and Pakistan. All of these countries are facing such a tariff, and it is time that Asian countries should unite to understand what kind of ties and strategic limitations there are with trading with the United States of America. And of course, America shall see a rise of prices. Every item in the household shall become costlier to purchase, and hence inflation. But in other terms, we are seeing a new global trade change, a big shift. And with such big shift, there are definitely ramifications, there are effects to certain communities, certain elements may no longer be able to purchase. So these are the things that are quite important in the field of global trade. And of course, I mentioned earlier on today's show, there's a General Assembly happening next month. We will understand each and every leader's position in running the economies. I'll give an example related to Bangladesh. Before the Russia-Ukraine war, we had 1 liter of octane was at 89 taka.
Yes.
Today, 1 liter of octane is at 126 taka. What had happened in somewhere else on the planet that had such kind of relationship with such a basic commodity in Bangladesh. So certain ties in other countries as well will emerge, and people will definitely take note of this tariff war that is ongoing.
Sir, there was a treaty under the leadership of World Trade Organization, WTO.
Yes.
Don't you think WTO should come forward, International Monetary Fund should come forward, World Bank should come forward to advise or to consult Donald Trump not to move too fast regarding the tariffs issues?
Of course, it would be beneficial if he had had an exponential outlook on this matter, where he's slamming tariffs on Brazil way above 50%. So before approaching this problem, he could have started with a 5%, he could have started with a 3%, and the relationship would have been understandable and it wouldn't harm the general American folk. But as per now, this is important, and you see there's a movement shift away from such big names, the World Trade Organization, World Food Program, UNESCO. America's position is to remove themselves from such world names which are very conductive in understanding world trade patterns. So America is trying to move out and establish its own order throughout the economies.
Right, sir. We know, sir, everything has its opposite and equal reaction according to Sir Isaac Newton, and the world has accepted this theory very well. My question will be sort of like this: how might ongoing trade disputes and sanctions reshape global supply chains in this year, 2025, and upcoming years?
Thank you for asking it again. If you remember, I told a couple of sessions before today, in one couple I said the WTO is an organization where America is a founding member, Bangladesh is, China was, all the countries except Russia perhaps. So there are rules. It is totally rules based. It's equally applicable to everyone. First of all, if I take American case, the American president has no power, legal power, to impose tariffs. He can do it only when the Congress approves it first, and then he can. He cannot do it from with an executive order, and
yes, sir,
different duties for different. So that is what he is doing, has been doing, and Congress is not saying anything. So, and perhaps cannot say. So they are not the followers of rules. If you remember, I said in that session that there are two basic principles of this WTO. First of all, that if you enhance or reduce any tariff or tax on any good, it should be equally suffered or enjoyed by all the rest of the members. For example, if they impose 10% on China, yes, or 20%, then this 20% will be on all the members, equal applicability. But he is doing whatever he wants to on any particular country, and so many rates of taxes. This is one thing that is totally illegal. First of all, because he has the authority from his country, it is not approved of by the Congress, and then the WTO is violated. So what is the use? People can lodge an appeal or a litigation against America with the WTO. Problem is the judicial process of WTO is the judiciary. WTO judiciary is manned by 3 regions, one judge from America and one judge from the Asian, and the other is from Europe. The 3 judges might give a majority opinion or might give uniform opinion. The problem is America has not been appointing post fill vacant, and he has not been appointing a judge for the last 10-15 years. So China has a lot of cases against America, but none of these can be adjudicated. There is no justice, because one judge America is never giving, even not Donald Trump, his previous presidents also did not do it. So it has been actually rendered ineffective totally, and that is very unfortunate. So this is one thing, and the other thing is that WTO is gone. The American Congress, that is Senate and the House of Representatives, are supposed to do this, especially Senate, the war or supply of sales of war material, etc. And he is not caring. He writes on this paper, holds it like this, and this sort of signature. and the whole world is going on like that.
Do you want to call it one-man show?
Completely. If anything could be even worse than this description, it is that. As he said, he is sitting in his room, in his house or wherever, he goes and he decides. He cannot. He has no authority under American Constitution. He has no authority under the WTO rules, but he has been doing it. Only American people can stop him. Others can only criticize as we do now, but we cannot do anything to stop it. So, the only thing is if any other power, whatever you call him or it, can take care of him, which they do not, rich country, rich president, so he will be treated well, so he does not go to the other world so soon.
Sir, we are running out of time, but I want to do a very question to you. Don't you think luck is favoring him, because he is doing so many things which is unprecedented?
Luck also favored Hitler initially. For many years he was conquering almost the whole of the world, but finally he had to shoot himself. But this time it is not like the German administration, but Shakespeare once said that do not call anything good or bad till you see the end of it. So, we are yet to see the end of this term, and then only can we see. But this sort of things also causes havoc to the rest of the world, as he has been causing it. So, we are all suffering and will be suffering more, not only in terms of tariffs, but also wars, famines and all those things, and like the Gazans, also deaths of small children of starvation and all those. So, these collateral damages are going to be very big, but I am not sure what is going to happen to him. But as I foresee, I may not live that long, but as I foresee, when he goes out of office, he will face a lot of criminal charges without any doubt, which may take him to jail. That is what I foresee.
Very dangerous words sir has used. I just want to get an answer in 30 seconds from you.
Sure.
As a young entrepreneur, you are also facing the tariffs influence on your business. What do you think? How should government give a high priority concentration on this issue to save the businessman, because businessmen are the main blood vessels of the nation?
Well, of course, the more businessmen thrive, the more jobs shall be created. A business, when it expands, more jobs demands more employees. Job creation is directly involved to the comfort zone of businesses, and of course how businesses shall expand. Of course, in this tariff issue, it is only set to make all other countries demoralized in trading. This is the biggest trade news of the last 5 years, where America has imposed such a tariff. Whether such a tariff has been beneficial for any party is a matter of question at this very moment.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
to America.
Yes,
America is also going to suffer, because the simple logic the American policymakers or the policymaker does not understand that if he impose, he says millions of dollars are flowing. I said once, it was shown on television. How do you fit? Your say for us it is say 30, 15, 20%. So, our short, the easy thing will be cleared in America on payment of 15% more than it was before. Previously also there was 12%. So, what happens? First of all, the buyers there will bargain with the Bangladeshi sellers and will reduce the price, not totally, because they have to survive also. But where does this all go? The enhanced price goes to the consumers. The consumer price going up means inflation. Inflation means less of many things. So, there will be hunger in America also, not people like the president or the high-ups. So, it is not going to be, and he had a I should say a commitment to the people that he would control inflation, but it already has gone up by 1.43%. It will go up further, and that will be coming to other countries. It will be here also. So, the world is going to, unless something miraculous happens,
yes,
it is going to be very bad for them.
Right. I want to conclude with last word you said, world is going to face very tough time. The humanity is going to face the tough time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.